right. Welcome to the first edition of the Jerry Foster SEMO Music and Arts Podcast. Today's guest is a good friend of mine. He is the lead singer and frontman for the band Cinderblock. I've known him for the better part of 15 years.
Been that long? 15?
Maybe a little bit longer. Man, I'm trying to make us not sound so old.
Okay.
Anyway, he is a good friend of mine. I'm glad to have him on this very first edition. Mr. Roger Mattingly, thank you for being here, buddy.
Good to be here, man.
How you doing today?
Good. Really good. Glad you decided to do something like this. It's kind of cool, really.
Well, thank you.
Nobody does this around here. I mean, they do the Bone in Your Backyard, which is cool. I mean, that's great.
Very
They
cool,
put our music out, but they don't really, sit and do interviews and just kind of sit and bullshit, really. I mean,
yeah, that's another thing. You can say bullshit.
I know, you can
say, there's no FCC regulation to this, so you can say bullshit. One of the things I want to make sure that really gets across, though, is yes, I'm a musician. Yes, I play my little part in the little local music scene. I don't want it to be about me, though. I've listened to some podcasts from musicians, man, and they'll end up inevitably, my band, when we were man. I love the one thing that you're talking about the Bone in Your Backyard. The one thing the local radio station has done a lot of intermingling of the bands. There's been a lot of camaraderie with local musicians.
Right.
10, 11 years, man, and they really have played a huge part to that. So if they are listening, thank you guys. Thank you, Z95.
Randy Bailey, Chris Berger.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. They actually helped us with our first album whenever we first come out with our first album, which was in 2002, I believe it was.
And what was the name of that album?
It was 2 Cards Shy.
2 Cards Shy. I remember that. I remember the song. I remember it has a mention to Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Yep.
So that leads me to ask, man, how much of old music plays a part in what you do? And by old, I'm going to set a time frame here. I want to say,
man, here we go.
I want to say pre-1975.
As far as that style of music,
well, let's say Kiss Alive came out in '75, right?
Okay, yeah, and I'm an old guy.
And right, so I want to say they kind of helped usher in the era of the modern rock star, like the rock band, arena
I'm
rock
old
band.
because I remember when Kiss first come out.
And some would even say that Grand Funk Railroad probably precedes that, and they probably do. I mean, they sold, and Beatles sold out Shea Stadium.
My first albums were Kiss Alive 1 and Kiss Alive 2.
Cool. How much of that is influenced in your music? Like I said, you referenced Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and 2 Cards Shy.
That has a lot to do with just actually mindset, whatever you know how that is when you're writing songs.
Yeah.
It's just what your mindset is, I mean, it has a lot to do with looking back on, what you've done in life, like you said back in the 70s when the music actually come, dude, when rock come out, it was, like you said, it was in, I'd say, Kiss was, to me, Black Sabbath, Kiss, that was the rock to me.
Sure.
I mean, to other people, it was Elvis and,
right.
and bands like that.
Yeah, it's all in perspective of when you were born and what you consider. I still consider pop music to be Wham or
right. What is it? Wham and Aha and those guys.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
Take on Me.
Yeah,
I love that song.
Oddly enough, my 16-year-old daughter went through a huge phase of liking Aha, and not just the Take on Me song. She's like, "No, Dad, I know the whole discography of Aha," which is great.
My daughter likes the 80s stuff, like the Skid Row and the Poison and the Warrant, because
how could
that's
she not?
Well, that's what she, I guess she would say, grew up listening to, because that's our style of music that we do as far as Cinderblock goes. If people that are listening to this don't really know our band, we do from like 70s to now, rock music, but we kind of stay in the 80s. But
well, let me just put it out there. Roger does the operatic. Yes! And does it well. Better than me. I
got the Sebastian slash Janie Lane.
Sure.
Ronnie James Dio. We do Dio. We actually do some Iron Maiden now. You haven't seen our show in a while. We actually do.
I need to get
Wasted
out.
Years. We do Wasted Years by Iron Maiden now.
That's very cool.
A lot of people will be like, holy crap, that's Iron Maiden. You know, you don't hear anybody do Iron Maiden.
Not around
You
here.
don't hear anybody do Skid Row. You don't hear anybody do any Warrant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And there's a market for it. I mean, we live in the Midwest. I mean, for those that don't know, this is out of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and as long as there's a Midwest, there will always be a need for metal. There will always be an audience.
Yes,
for metal.
Metallica, you know, Metallica was the band, you know, at the time. What they come out in what? When did they actually come?
81, 82,
I think.
I was a kid, and I wasn't allowed to listen to that kind of music, supposedly. So, sure.
Devil music.
As was Kiss.
You don't know, man. No, I have to say, my mom and dad were great. Because, see, I had just started learning to play drums. So I had like 2 sets of drums set up in my bedroom. And I learned the whole drum solo to 100,000 Years off Kiss Alive album.
Right on,
yeah,
man.
I learned that as a kid.
I didn't realize you were that much of a Kiss fan. I mean, I know that you've done Kiss songs. I didn't realize. If I would have had to have guessed, judging by like
the stuff we do,
the stuff you do, I'd be like, oh, Ronnie James Dio's got to be one of his biggest influences, or King Diamond, you know, something like that.
Yeah, Kiss was a big start of my my music, because when they first come out, I was born in '66, and they come out in '75. So,
have you ever written a song that was strictly about getting chicks like Kiss did? Hey, come on, we know what the Love Gun's referencing, right? Do you have it in your makeup to write a song? I can't do it. I cannot do it. I have a daughter. I've got my mom listens to my music. I can't write a song about I can't even see the word.
Chasing women, you mean?
Well, yeah, just about my cock. No. For lack of a better word, I can't. My love gun. Yes.
There you go. You
I cannot write
the COC word.
Right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
But no.
But that's what this is for. This is real life stuff.
Yeah. This is legit, man.
Yeah.
I can't write songs about banging chicks and showing off my pecker and all of that. Like, I don't have it.
Chris
in
can.
Me.
Have you not heard our new album called With the Lights On?
Here's the thing. I have nothing against music like that.
Have you heard that song? It's called With the Lights On.
Is it new?
It's off our latest album.
I need to get a copy of your latest album.
Off of Handful of Dirt.
By the way, that's going to be a prerequisite. If you're going to be on my show, you must bring me free music.
Oh, it's got to be free CDs.
I want free music. That's the only reason I'm doing it.
I know, man. No, it's called With the Lights On is the name of it. And he's talking about banging chicks with the lights on.
Having sex with the lights on. Right on. Hey, man, if that's your thing. I personally
I can't either.
Yeah, I can't.
I do about like breakups. I write about like breakups, and then I've got one that I wrote called 8x8 Cell. It was about a guy that the way it was kind of put out. He was him and his girlfriend had grown apart, and he come into a bar where she was at, and he saw her with another guy, and he had a handful of, his eyes went full of rage, and now he's in an 8x8 cage. So
right on.
Took the guy, and
brother went crazy.
Went crazy. So I write stuff about like that. I don't,
Sure. Yeah, I tend to write because there just seems to be so much shit in the world. I mean, every time you turn around, someone's arguing over politics.
And it's so easy to write a song nowadays because you can just look at the news and go, crap, dude, I can write a song about that.
I always try to write the virus or the antivirus or what's the word I'm looking? The antidote.
Right.
I'm always writing these happy. I believe there's going to be a. I wrote a song once called "I Believe It," and it's somewhere there's an endless source of possibilities. I believe it, but that's just my way. But I mean, as songwriter, and I really like talking about songwriting with another songwriter in particular because.
Well, some of the guys you're going to get in here are usually just, I write, so you might get some people that come in here that don't write.
And that's fine. We'll talk guitars.
Yeah.
I'll talk drums. I don't give a shit. But I really love to get to, because you and I tend to be the primary songwriters for our bands. We might even write a song tonight. We might write a song tonight.
About this.
Hey, we did a song together this year.
Yes, we did. We actually did.
Driving Blues with Mr. Darren Stevens from Black River Blues
on here.
Trying to get some more of that local musician camaraderie.
And that was really cool that you invited me to help out with that. That was really cool.
I dropped the ball on continuing doing that this year, but I've had a lot on my plate. I think most everybody knows that I don't make any bones about it. I have fought with alcoholism for a long time, and as of the 4th of this month, I'm 8 months free sobriety. So I've had to focus on that kind of stuff. I haven't been getting to go out and go to shows, and I've had to remove myself
just
from that.
Because you go out and see us in shows don't mean you have to.
No, absolutely not. And I think that's a really good message too. Because a lot of times when we're on stage and we're, hey man, drink up, tip your waitress, and you should. And if you could, I personally can't responsibly drink.
Right.
I don't have that makeup. But anyway, totally got off track here. I was talking about songwriting.
Talking about drinking and playing music.
I went from songwriting to talking about my sobriety.
You're
I'm always curious as to where a person's head is, because like I having a child and seeing just a lot of anger in the world, and I've get mixed up in it. But I mean, you can get on Facebook every day and see two good friends going at it, just fighting. And for me, songwriting is therapeutic in that Facebook, I'm going to write the opposite of that. Sure, yeah. But so like, give me an idea. Like, okay,
like I said, it depends on what song I'm writing.
Absolutely. And when you go to write a song,
if I'm in that mindset, I could be in a like many years ago when I was with Rusty Corzine with Lori's Headache.
Yes.
We did. Actually, you can get that off of iTunes. He's got that stuff's on iTunes, and then one of my songs is on iTunes.
I believe they still have a CD of it down at Hayes Music left too.
It's called "So Sad," and that song was written about my daughter that I met for the first time when she was 13 years old.
Oh, that's deep, man.
Yeah,
that's heavy stuff right there.
We met when she was 13, and 2 days after that, me and Chad wrote the song. I played the drums on it. Chad played bass and guitar on it.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Brother, that is heavy. So, okay.
And it is on iTunes.
Awesome. Let's get that plug in. Lori's Headache, So Sad on iTunes.
Yes.
So, say you write a song.
Uh-huh.
Do you pick out a day of the week or a time of the day, or you're like, all right, leave me alone, guys. I'm going to go do some writing.
Dude, I could be sitting watching TV.
You just go when the inspiration strikes.
I could be sitting watching TV and something hit me, and I'll grab a piece of paper and I'll just start writing it down. It may not finish that day, but I can start something, and then I might get, they call it writer's block, I guess.
Sure,
but brain fart's what I call it.
Absolutely.
You're in the middle of writing something, and you're like, what goes with this? What can I do here? Where can I go from here? And then you're like, okay, I'll just take a break, and then it might be 2 days, it might be 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And then
me and
again.
Alan Gallimore,
you're the same way, but
I'm actually not.
Just, finish.
I've rarely written a song and come back to it.
Oh, I can't.
Me and Alan Gallimore were talking about that a year or two ago. We were talking about. He said that he does the same thing, and maybe one of the reasons why I never feel like my songs are up to snuff is because, man, I get it done, and it's like I don't
just
do rewrites, and I don't really edit, and I should, because I like if I hear it on the radio or I hear it, just listen to it later.
See, what helps is I play guitar too, so I can kind of get a little bit of give Chad the feel of what. That was the other thing I was going to ask. Do you have the lyrics first or the melody? Melody. I had the melody. I get the melody in my head. Chad, a lot of times the way me and Chad write songs, and we're going to go back to the alcohol thing.
Sure.
Me and Chad has wrote many. Our first album was written on a fifth of Jägermeister.
Sure.
So, the 2 Cards Shy was written. That song was written at my apartment, and Chad come over and said, "Hey man, I got this cool riff. Check it out." So he played me the riff for a minute, and I wrote that song in one night, and that song was done in one night. So
awesome.
So you asked me about a mindset. You really can't say that you're in any certain kind of mindset because it depends on what's going on at the time.
Yeah.
Like he's got put that riff in my head, and then I'm like, okay, well, this goes with this. I've been thinking about this, and it's already been in my head. It just hasn't come out.
Yeah.
So that was the answer to your question.
Okay, right on. Yeah. It's weird. I could talk about songwriting all night because it's I play guitar and I sing, and right now I'm going to plug myself. I'm working on a solo record where I'm playing everything myself. But I think of myself the most rewarding aspect of music for me personally, just on a totally selfish self-indulgent level is sitting down in my room, writing a song, hashing it out, giving it to my band or doing it myself, and then eventually hearing it on the radio.
Right.
It's like, wow, how rewarding is that?
It is. It's great.
So
that's kind of the perks of being playing with Chad, because Chad's got his own studio.
Sure.
So when I come over to hang out, we just go downstairs and turn record on, and
it's also a nice perk of having a local radio station that plays local music.
Yeah.
I
now
really
you're gonna get Randy on here too.
Yeah. Randy said he would gladly do it. I think that's cool. I'd like to get Chris Berger on here as well. Big props to Chris. When EOB first formed, he was a fan.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he really was. He'd come to the gigs and he'd try to promote us, and he's like, once you get music, give it to us, we'll play it.
That was when we first got the 2 Card Shy album done. Chris was like, "Man, give me that," because we was giving him like samples, samples of songs, and we were working on them. He's like, "Man, give me a copy of this." He said, "This is great. This is great stuff."
But do you realize how lucky we are to have that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, imagine if we lived in
a big town, big state, or a big city.
A big city.
No, they wouldn't play our stuff.
You might get it on like university radio.
Nah, maybe.
Something like that. A college station, right?
Station.
But I mean, like, imagine this. Imagine just the opposite. Imagine if we lived in a town of 3,000 people that didn't even have a radio station.
Yeah.
And here we live in a town that's got one, and at one time it had the most watts allowable by law. What, 100,000 watts or something?
Well, actually, I found out. My daughter Paige. She's a very good singer too.
Sure.
I mean, amazing singer. Like for you to get her on one of these podcasts one time.
Sure.
She's a songwriter also.
Yeah.
Writes her own songs, plays her own guitar.
Very cool.
But anyways, they actually do. Jonesboro has local. They play local music in Jonesboro also, on one of their stations.
So cool.
So it. Like you said, we're pretty lucky.
We really are. I mean, we're lucky, but this area also has a lot of talent. I mean, there's a lot of different styles of music around here that's played well.
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day.
So lucky
Jerry,
that way, man.
This. Somebody asked me the other day. Said, "All right, I've got 4 guitar players, and I want you to tell me who the best is." I said, "Well, I can't tell you who the best is because they're all different styles." I said, "Well, who's your 4 guitar players?" I said, "Jeff Chapman, Chad, Jerry Kirkman, and you."
Oh wow!
And I said, you all play different styles, so you can't say one person's better than the other. Now, Jerry might be faster, shredding than any of the other guys. Jeff might be he might be better as far as his licks,
Yeah, some sort of technical
stuff.
thing.
And Chad might be as far as, just his. But you guys are styles. You cannot pick a better guitar player to me. I can't.
Yeah.
Because I love y'all. I played music with y'all, and y'all are all great.
And that's how I feel about like the sort of singers too. I mean, you're going to have people that are technically good on guitars, or a singer that has got lessons of this, that, and the other. But I mean, in the end, really, I mean, I'll be the first to say I'm a music snob.
Oh yeah.
I bitch about, oh my God, that guitar tone is shit,
Chad does the same thing.
We all do. But here's the thing. We all also know that it's totally subjective. I mean, there's no such thing as right or wrong, and if it evokes some sort of emotion in the listener, then you've done your job. Right. So I mean, it doesn't matter if Jerry Foster thinks you're good or bad. I'll razz on Luke Bryan all day long. He doesn't give a rat's ass what Jerry Foster thinks,
because he's rich and got money.
Sure,
and he's made millions.
Absolutely. Bandmates of yours, Corey and I were just talking the day before yesterday.
Phenomenal musician, dude. I mean, he is one. I love Corey.
He's such a musical guy.
He can shred on guitar. He can shred on bass. He can shred on drums. I mean, he's amazing and can sing. That's Another guy you need to get on here too is Brandon Reeder. Brandon's the same way. Brandon
absolutely. I know Brandon.
Brandon can play guitar. Brandon can play drums. Brandon can play bass, and he's an amazing singer.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of guys that are really, really just amazing talent, in this area.
That's so cool.
I mean, Corey plays guitar for a thrash metal band.
Yeah, Cycle of Ruin.
And plays drums for us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah.
In the middle of our set, Corey actually comes out and plays guitar. You've seen us do that, haven't you?
And he's got a ginormous penis that we should be writing songs about.
No, that's Chris.
Or no, that's Did I ever tell you we've got a nickname for Chris?
They call him Han Solo.
We call him for Ken in ELB, bass player in ELB. He's got a nickname for everyone, right? Chris is Chris.
What's mine?
Chris Hanaconda.
I like that one. That is good. What's mine? I'm afraid.
Good question. I don't know. I really don't know. Wow. I think Slendercock is what.
Slendercock
is what we can. He's in the Justin Heskett band, which Jamie, drummer for EOB, is in.
Yeah.
We call it the Buddy Hackett band.
Buddy Hackett. And they did really good at Easton Corbin. It was really
they're
good.
Yeah, man. Very talented guys. Country guys.
Yeah.
Very good at what they do. And good guys. I just saw them yesterday.
Yeah. Justin, I love Cody. Cody Noel. He's a great dude, man.
He's a solid cat.
He is. And he's down to earth. That's why I like him.
Yeah.
Justin, I like Justin. He's one of them guys too. That he's down to earth. He's
Yep.
None of them are just snobs. You know what I mean? And you have your snobby musicians.
Me.
You are not.
You've
never been snobby to me.
I'm gonna work on that.
Being snobby to me.
I'm gonna work on that.
All right.
No, but again, it goes back to that camaraderie between the musicians around here. There's a lot of mutual respect, and even in the fact, like, yeah, we come up with these goofy names for each other. That's the shit that guys do.
And I don't look at us as competition either.
No, it's just
some musicians look at it that way.
Sure, they'll make a pecker measuring contest out of who bakes the best cookies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the nature. And some guys are just that competitive. I mean, I just try to be in competition with myself. Like, can I outdo what I did before?
That's right. That's the way I am.
And drive myself nuts. Trying. It's sometimes I'm like, man, I've maxed out.
I've done
as good as I can do.
Yeah, I'm not as good as I was, but I'm good as I once was, and who does
Toby
that song?
Keith.
Toby Keith's song, yeah.
Toby Keith.
That is an amazing song because it is so true.
Yeah. So
I'm not as good as I once was.
For you, what makes for a good song? As far as like songwriting, when you hear a song and you go, damn, I like that. What are some aspects of that song that you actually like?
One is lyrics.
Okay.
How well they tell the story.
Yeah.
Melody line is another plus for me.
Yeah.
But I think really the main thing to me is the story that your song is telling.
Yeah.
For me, to me, a songwriter is a storyteller.
Yeah,
sure. That's the way I tell. That's the way I look at myself whenever I'm writing songs. Is I'm a storyteller. I'm letting you know what's inside me. That's either happened in my life or I've seen it happen and it's coming out. I'm telling you a story. I like the storytelling.
Do you like lyrics that are real direct, or do you like the sort of abstract thing? Like, a person that comes to mind obviously would be like, say Kurt Cobain, Nirvana. Those songs are so open to interpretation.
Yeah, and there's another one that wasn't as big, but that's Rusty Corzine.
Sure,
Rusty could write some songs.
Yeah,
you can look at him and say, okay, write me a song about that calendar, and he would sit right there and write a song about that calendar that quick.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah,
and it would be so explicit, or it could be, just tell you about the calendar, or he could make something really funny about it. Yeah. He wrote a song called Mr. Happy. We know what that's about.
Sure.
Come on.
Sure. that would be about Chad Montag.
No, but I see what you're saying, Kurt. Yeah, Kurt.
All right, so we had a weird little technical glitch there. Anyway, we're talking about Nirvana, Kurt Cobain. I mean, you could say that his lyrics, good grief, look at the
got the level now.
We got some level. That was kind of loud.
Let's sing a song, huh?
Yeah.
You want to hear what?
There you go, right on. No, but we were talking about,
Kurt and lyrics.
Kurt and lyrics. A lot of people would say that they heard angst in his music. Well, I never heard any lyrics that were like, fuck you, I hate you. But it's just the delivery.
Right.
There was the delivery of those lyrics.
Okay, Jerry, I think that's why he did that. is to leave, leave it to your imagination of what he's actually, actually trying to write about or come up with.
I don't think he wanted anyone to really sit and ponder what his lyrics meant.
I think he did. I think that was part of his. I think that was part of his deal.
You think so?
I think that's why he didn't actually come out and like write stuff, to where you understood it. He wrote stuff to, why do you want to eat your cancer till it turns black? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That's true.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and a lot of songwriters.
Or when it turns black, however that goes. I'm not sure what it says. I think when it turns black, eat your cancer when it turns. How's it go?
Or when you turn black.
Or
yeah,
something.
gosh, I
can't think of the song, but
Heart-Shaped Box.
Yeah, but I mean, I couldn't think of how the actual lyrics went.
Yeah, I wish I could eat your cancer when you turn black or something like that.
You turn black or it turns black.
We could Google that.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get somebody on the research team.
Yeah.
For the podcast. Research department.
Oh, Destiny, Google this for us.
So I think the delivery can mean a lot too. So I want to switch over to performing now. We've talked about songwriting. We've basically talked about the headspace, lack of whatever. A song just comes when a song comes.
It does to me. I mean, I don't know if you, but it does to me.
I wrote a song about songwriting sort of one time. A song called "Song in the Sky," because I'd heard in an interview with Lennon and McCartney of the Beatles, of course, saying that the songs are just really in the sky. You just reach up and grab them and put them to paper and record them, almost like they're just a gift. I think they were downplaying the fact that they were really talented songwriters, but it does. For me, I just always had the melody in my mind. And boom, it's there. And lyrics. I'm not a lyrics guy. I admittedly am not a lyrics guy. I've heard people say I've written, a song that I once had someone say I wrote a song that made them cry. And that wasn't my intention. I was just trying to put vowels and syllables into the melody that I had and tried to make a story of it. But there's times I've sat down without any idea what I was even going to write about. I just knew I wanted to make this sound, and I had this melody in my head with some chords on a guitar, and just went from there. But anyway, I want to move this. Yeah, I want to move this over to performing, man.
Go ahead.
First off, give me an idea of when did you get started performing?
Okay, I was a drummer before I was a front man. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, I knew that you drummed. But were you singing behind the kids?
Yes, I was.
You're like a Don Henley of Southeast Missouri, baby.
The first band that I kind of did that in was called Purple Heart. I don't know if everybody remembers the band Purple Heart. We was very, very well known.
Who was in that band? Was Walter in that band?
Okay, very, very, very first Purple Heart before we did all of our changing around.
The first incarnation.
This was the incarnation. It was Kevin Weatherford playing bass.
Okay.
It was Walter Dunn.
Yeah.
Guitar. Don Brown. He worked at the music store playing guitar and keys, and he had all that synthesizer stuff on his guitar.
Oh, wow.
And me playing drums. And Jeff Page singing.
Okay.
But then we would swap off at halftime. Jeff would sing the first two sets, and then I would sing the last two sets with the Metallica, the Skid Row, and Jeff would do like the Eagles and the stuff for the first two sets. Then he'd go back to drums, and then I'd go out front and sing. And then finally Jeff went his way, and they got rid of Kevin. They pulled Alan Gallimore in to play bass. Then
who is now the leader of Damnation Alley.
Pulled Alan in to play bass. We've actually been talking to Alan a little bit, playing bass with Cinderblock, because Chris has got a job now.
What?
Yeah. No, he's actually got a job working at a factory, and he's working nights, so he's going to be working like every other Saturday.
That's
cool. Well, it's cool for him, but not for us, because we're going to have a bass player, that can come in and fill in whenever we need him. So,
sure.
We've been talking about, but anyways, we'll go back to the performing. Then we pulled Alan in and got Barry Whaley, which he's with, what's the name of that band? Bombay Black. They're amazing. They've been opened up for a lot of big bands.
Yeah.
Good music. I like their music.
Yep.
Then we had Barry playing drums, Alan Gallimore on bass, Walter and Don still the front, and me. We did that probably for a year, and then one night Barry called Corey and told Corey, I need you to go fill in for me, because he had to do something. And then Corey became our drummer, and
Corey
Jerry Jackson,
Okay.
our drummer, Cinderblock's drummer now,
Right.
and the drummer for Cinderblock. I ain't gonna say Cinderblock's drummer because he don't like me to say that.
Right.
So the drummer for Cinderblock.
Right.
Then we had Alan quit, and that's when he started with I think Andy Bowman. They did the cradle thing at that time, and then it was me, and then we got Jerry Kirkman playing bass. So that's kind of how Purple Heart went, and that's where I kind of got, as far as frontman performing. Now, I played my first bar when I was 11 years old with my dad.
Okay.
Playing old country stuff like you like. I mean,
Yeah,
you and I are both in that era because
Sure.
I love the Hank Snow,
Buck Owens, man.
Buck Owens, man.
Love some Buck Owens.
We actually got to play that out there.
I want to stop this just for a second. We're gonna.
You keep interrupting my.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So we're this
sun's
fancy.
gonna shine in my.
Yeah, our very fancy setup here in
Yeah.
my room. So you got to play some Buck Owens lately?
Well, not lately. I mean, with you, we did at the Legion.
At the Legion, with your dad.
Yes.
We actually, I played some drums. I think.
Yeah, my dad's 91, man, and still playing.
That's so cool. We need to get with him and do some of that stuff.
I told you, we need to get over to
He would appreciate that very much. I know he would.
And he gave me that National guitar of his.
Oh, that's cool.
That guitar's older than me and you put together.
Oh, I don't know about all that. I'm pretty old, man.
I'm older than you are, though.
Speaking of old and performing,
what?
going from the Purple Heart days to now.
Oh my gosh, Jerry, it was.
I
find myself sometimes, and I'm going to say this, I find myself out of breath sometimes.
Yeah.
I do.
Sure.
Like when we play, a lot of times when we play over at Paragould, we got 125, 200 people in there. And they drain you.
Sure.
I mean, if they're responsive,
you get that body heat in there.
I mean, if they're responsive, they drain your energy.
Oh, sure.
They want you to be energized.
They're definitely there is definitely a reciprocated thing between the energy of the crowd and the energy of the band. The more energetic a crowd is, just for anybody listening, the more energetic a crowd is, the more energetic a band is going to be.
Oh, I would rather
every time.
People ask me
every time.
People have asked me, they're like, "Do you get stage fright, or do you, does it bother you for?" I said, "Dude, it doesn't matter if there's 5 people in front of me or 500,000 people in front of me. I'm going to put on the same show, whether there's, 1,000 people or 5 people."
And that's a true professional.
And of course, I can't say that. I mean, I'm going to try to put on that show, but if I've got more people wanting my energy, more people than 5 people. If you got 5 people there, you're going to put on a good show. But if you got 5,000 people there, you're going to kick ass. You know what I mean?
You're going to bring it.
You're going to be out there going, "What was I thinking, man?" I mean, I turned 49 this year, man.
You get that adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And that adrenaline does drain you.
I turned 49 this year, and
I'll be 41
like I said,
next month.
I've found myself a few times on stage when Chad's doing a solo, I'm turning around going, I'm gasping because I'm giving it to him.
Do you ever just want to say, "Chad, take another solo, take another one,
I
brother"?
do.
Yeah,
I do. I'm like,
take another turn there.
I get on the mic and say, "Play it again, Chad." So I'm over there going, he's looking at me going, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying to breathe, man."
I'm just breathing. Did we bring any water to this game? It's funny when you're young. It's all load me up with booze and
and I can jump up on them monitors and I'm like, not even.
You don't care. Now it's like, man, water. The last gig I played a couple weeks ago with the party, I told the lady behind the bar, the waitress working behind the bar, I'm like, "Give me the largest holder of water that you're allowed to give me. If it's a pitcher, great. If you got a bucket, even better." I need all. I used to
see up there with a bucket. Put it on your, like a horse, put it around your neck.
I want a trough around my neck.
But yeah, you're right. Water's better for you. That's a good one.
Yeah, put that in your rider for your next gig. Yeah, we'd like a trough on stage of water.
Well, one time they
preferably with nothing floating.
They actually gave us. I think it was at over at LA's in Paragould.
Uh-huh.
They actually gave us like wasn't a cooler, but it was like a cooler.
Yeah.
And they filled it up with water bottles. I mean, and iced it down and put it up on stage for us.
Yeah.
So.
Do you ever drink it at room temperature so it doesn't clog your throat up? I was always told room temperature. If it's too cold,
Water?
it'll. Yeah, because if it's
I drink
cold,
water
the cold
cold.
makes things constrict, like your vocal cords.
And you're.
And your wiener.
Yeah.
You know? That wiener that you and I refuse to write songs about.
Will not.
Nah, I can't do it either. So, okay, Purple Heart.
back to our performance.
From Purple Heart, where did you go from there?
Went to Fair Warning. That
Okay.
was with Jerry Kirkman, Kathy Kirkman,
Yep.
Harold Sadler.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Oh, man, I found a video the other day.
Was it late 90s?
No. Yeah, it was. I'm sorry. It was. It was in 90. I believe the video said 98 on it. Yeah, 98.
Because I remember going and watching.
Yeah, it was 98.
Um,
We played out. It was the actual. It's on VHS tape.
Sure.
And it rolls the whole time. But
Yeah.
Jerry's going to try to run it down on DVD.
yeah, you can do that.
And to keep it, I don't know. You have to have a device to keep it from tracking. You know.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was out at the Call of the Wild. when we played
Tracking
over-
for you kids out there was what you had to do on the old the old VHS tapes when they would start getting off track, literally
Yeah,
off
when
track.
they
You had to
actually
retract
roll.
them.
When your TV rolls, that's tracking.
That's tracking. So okay,
And then
so
we-
you're in Fair Warning. What kind of music are you doing in Fair Warning
about
at
the
this
same
point?
as- Well, no, actually, we did a little bit. We did some Offspring.
Right on. Well, come out and play something like that.
We
or-
did Pretty Fly for a White Guy. We did
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that. We did Cult of Personality.
Great
Living Color.
tune, man.
Look
Great
in my eyes, what do you see? I
Yeah.
love that tune, man. Let's see, a lot of stuff like that. We did some Plush and just different stuff. Then we did our '80s stuff, with the
Yeah.
Warrant. We did Heaven Isn't Too Far Away. We're not doing that one with Cinderblock, but we used to do that with them.
Yeah.
So just almost the same stuff we're doing now, a little different.
Mhm.
Like now we're doing some Linkin Park, and we're doing some Seven Mary 3, which is the newer stuff. I don't
Yeah,
wanna say
newish.
newish.
Yeah, it's weird stuff I consider to be newer is like really not new anymore. It's like
No.
20 years old.
And what do you think about the new
Holy-
country stuff? Is it not like Southern rock? I mean,
Yeah, I don't. I
don't
try
even-
not to think about new country stuff.
I'm telling you, my dad.
That's that. Yeah.
My dad cannot stand it.
Well, he's a traditionalist, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, I am too.
But
I'm a
off the
country
track.
snob.
Back on the track, performance-wise, we did. Let's see, man, that's a long time ago. That's '98. Come on, Jerry, make my head spin here.
All right, so 98 to about what 2002.
2001, we started Cinderblock.
Okay, I knew it was somewhere around
So
in there.
Fair Warning was from '98 to then.
And who was in the first incarnation of Cinderblock?
Your buddy. Your buddy actually come up with our name.
Yes.
Jamie Hickson.
Yeah.
He sure did, man. We was sitting there, and you know how whenever you get guys together and you're trying to come up with a band name. We've been practicing for a
My
while.
least favorite thing about being in a band is
It's
having to come
coming
up with a name because
Well,
they always sound fucking
Stupid.
dorky to
They're
me.
stupid.
Yes.
Well, we write our names down, and they'll
Yeah.
say, okay, what do you think about this? And we're all like, no, they ain't right. And Jamie was just sitting there, and there was this cinder block out in my yard.
Yeah.
And Jamie just stuck his head out, and he looked out the window, and he said, let's call it cinder block.
Yeah.
And spell it with a Y.
Wow.
And leave the C out on the block. So it's CYNDERBLOK if you guys want to go online and check us out. We got stuff
course
on
they
Reverb
do.
Nation.
Awesome.
Cinder Block at Cinder Block at Reverb Nation, which is CYNDERBLOK.
Right.
And
on.
you want to check our website out. We've got an actual website on not just a Facebook. We got a
Right.
website. It's Cinder Block. The spelling is CYNDERBLOK dot FOUR.com. It's cinderblock.44.com. That's our
Okay.
actual. That we've got videos on there. We got music on there.
Awesome.
So
So then Cinderblock has been through how many versions of
members.
Cinder?
Well,
but
actually,
really, not a lot.
Not really, if you think
Not
about it,
a
because
lot.
we're almost back original.
Yeah.
Because the original Cinderblock was Jamie Hickson, Corey Jackson, which Corey was playing bass at the time.
Right.
Jamie was playing drums, and
Yes.
Chad, and me. So now we're at me, Corey, Chad. We got 3 original members.
There you go.
And Chris, he come in right after Jamie.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, it's almost original. Now, when Chris went overseas, he was in the military, he's military police, so he had to go to Qatar for a year.
Yeah.
So we had Ken Simpson sit in with us
Getting
for
all
a year.
kinds of EOB action in Central Pop. And that's one of the cool things about
Barry
this
Whaley played
area,
drums
man.
with us for a while.
Yeah. And again, I got to go back to the local, the camaraderie thing. Everybody around here, except for me almost, has been in a band with everyone. I've been in a band.
You've never been in a band with me.
No. I've been in a band with Jamie off and on since '94.
Right.
So I've been in a band with a guy who's been in a band with a lot of people, right? And same with Ken.
Right.
And I, even though they're my bandmates and best friends, I mean, those guys are my brothers. Talking about the two other members of Ernie Lewis Band. We've all been interviewed, but I need to get them individually on this podcast
Right,
too.
yeah, that'd be cool. You know how long me and Chad Montague have been playing music together?
A long time.
1986.
Wow. Good grief, man. So
now you can see what our influences was and why we're playing the stuff that we play. Because that's what we.
Hell yeah. So I want to bullshit like we would as if nobody were listening. I mean, there's no
That's what
sense.
we've been
It's
doing.
what we've been doing. Yeah.
That's
But
what this is about.
I really want people that aren't in a band to get an idea of what band life is like. All right.
Oh, man.
So we're talking about performing.
Okay.
What's the craziest thing that ever happened to you on stage? Like what's one of the craziest things that okay, good or bad? Just what is a crazy story that you could tell somebody listening who's never been in a band? Just like what it's like. Because, I mean, there's a good chance I might be able to relate, or our buddies that are in bands could relate. But say my daughter's listening.
Okay.
What could you tell her to give her an idea of how crazy it can get, and just for my entertainment as well?
We were playing at Little Whiskers. Chad's gonna kill me for this. But we were playing at Little Whiskers in Ironton, Missouri, and one of the waitresses over there, I believe, had the hots for Chad.
Okay.
Okay. Well.
What? You mean sometimes the workers in the bars have the hots for the band?
Yeah, you know that. But anyways,
Sorry,
we always did shots of Jaeger. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how I can,
You can
say
talk
this.
about drinking alcohol with me.
I know.
Trust me, you're not gonna.
No, I mean how I can put this away. It don't sound like we're all luscious and that's all we ever do is drink on stage.
All right, no.
But anyways, this night
Most people can keep it to not getting drunk on stage.
Chad couldn't help it. This little gal, I guess, had the hots for him, and instead of doing shots, she was pouring him glasses of Jaeger.
Ugh.
I mean, now, mind you, he didn't have to drink it.
Right.
But by third set, Chris was over there playing bass, yelling out chords to Chad.
Yeah, sure.
B, C. So finally, about the middle of third set, Chad just did like this to his guitar and looked at me, and just we had to leave.
Wow.
Last of third set because he was too trashed to play.
Oh my God, that's the worst story you've got
Pretty much.
that you can tell.
Yeah, you don't want to hear some of the other stuff. We'll talk about that off the air, but and then you can tell me if we can.
You care if I share a crazy story?
Yeah, go ahead.
I there's a few that come to mind.
But that is a pretty crazy story, though.
That is because Chad. I don't think of Chad as Chad's usually more. I don't want to say the word professional, but he's so serious in his craft.
Yeah.
And it shows by how good he is. That doesn't seem to be within his character to get so drunk he couldn't finish a show.
Well, he wasn't realizing after he did the second glass of that Jaeger that it was too late.
Maybe she may have slipped something in there.
Something in there. I was trying to get him. Give me your story, man.
We were playing this gig. It was EOB over at the Harley Davidson Center in Cape Girardeau about 3 years ago. And this dude was obnoxious. All right, now you gotta think there's a bunch of bikers out there with their Harleys lined up. This dude, he's out there and he's got some sort of judo stick or whatever the fuck they call them in martial arts. He's wheeling it and whipping it around and shit. And then he asked Jamie, "Can I play your drums before we set up?" And Jamie's like, He's like, "Man, I'll give you $5 or something." And Jamie's a very non-confrontational,
right?
Very pacifist guy. He's not a fighter. He's not into violence, whatever. So he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And so the guy does that, and he's pretty annoying. He's like, "What kind of guitar you got, man?" And blah blah blah. Well, next thing we know, we start playing. Something comes whizzing up at the stage. Boom! Hits Ken. I'm pissed. I'm ready to jump this guy because don't fuck with my bandmates and then their safety.
Right.
Then he gets in his car, races towards the stage,
Oh, crap.
and then puts it, slams on his brakes, throws it in reverse, and almost hits this row of Harleys, and then hauls ass on the 55. We finish our set, and we finish the gig. We're breaking down. We find what he threw up on stage.
What was it?
A roll of $20 bills.
Really?
It was over $100 that he threw. Like this nut job.
That's money in your pocket.
Hell? But it was money in our pocket.
Yeah, that's a
So
good tip.
yeah, no, it was a good tip. It was a good tip. But that's one crazy story that comes to
Hold
mind.
on, I got one that you're talking about crazy story.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, this is a band called Bad Habits I was in. This was me, Jerry Kirkman, Kathy, and a guy named Jason Falk. This was this was early before I started with Purple Heart. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we were playing out at the old bar at Stringtown. I can't remember what it was called at the time.
Yeah.
It was an old, when they actually had bands up, they had stage and everything set up. Well, we did a song called Knocking on Heaven's Door. You know this
Oh,
song?
yeah.
Okay. Well, this old drunk come up and punched Jason right in the mouth.
Sweet
Knocked
Jesus.
him clean out on stage because he thought he was saying knocking on Betty Joe, which that was his dead wife's name.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't understand what Jason was really saying.
Oh my God.
So he knocked him clean out.
What did the band do? Please tell me somebody.
Oh, I laid him out.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not saying that you had to retaliate, but at least confine.
No,
this
I come around
motherfucker.
behind. I was actually over my drums before Jerry could lay his guitar down, and I had him on the ground.
I wasn't at the gig. I think Jamie was sitting in with you guys over in Ironton somewhere, and he got the piss beat out of him.
No, that was actually in Ellington.
Or Ellington.
Yeah. And that wasn't with me. That was with
I can't
Ben.
remember. Okay. To this day, he will not go and play over there. Then he's like, nope, fuck that. Nope,
No.
that's the kind of people that.
And Jamie didn't do that. I heard the story about that.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. He
No.
just was sitting on a bar stool, and Jamie's not a rowdy guy. He's definitely not going to be talking to anyone's gal, and
No.
it's not how he operates. He's going to talk about music or usually eat something.
Yeah.
Get something to eat.
But that was one of my stories. I had forgot about that when you started talking about it. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that one. But Jason, he punched him straight in the mouth.
Good God Almighty!
And I'll tell you a lot of things. I don't know if you get this or not because you're a guitar player. But when I'm singing, I hate it when people are dancing. They get up and dance in front of you and they hit your mic stand.
I have a cracked tooth because of that.
They hit your
right
mic
there.
stand. Yep. And they knock your
Killed that tooth.
Yeah.
To this day, I do not like to smile with my mouth open
right because
until I can get some dental
Look at me,
work
though.
done. Yeah.
I fell 40 feet out of a tree though. That's why.
Yeah, yours is more like a battle wound. I look like a meth head. Never touched that shit in my life, but so,
Discolored teeth.
yeah, I look like fucked up. Yeah, fucked up tooth.
But yeah, I hate that. Do you not hate that, man? Especially when you don't have a stage and you're playing on a floor or something and people are dancing. They don't really mean to.
But it happened at the Legion here.
Yeah, because
and again, anything that happens in these clubs, I do not blame the clubs.
No,
because I'm not going to pass the buck off on someone. It's their individual responsibility to treat bands.
Got another
right.
story for you.
Sure.
This is one that you'll relate to because you're a guitar player.
Sure.
We were playing out at where's that at Puxico, that little bar they used to have out at Puxico out there.
Oh yeah, we played out there and they did a live remote with the radio station.
Yeah,
had the big hill in the back.
Yeah,
big
I
old
can't
hill.
remember the name of the bar. Anyways, we were playing out
in
there.
the bend of the road
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
and Chris, he got really trashed. I mean, he was drunk and jumping around, like he always does. He had his wireless, and he's jumping around. He gets over by Chad and he puts his foot up on the monitor. The monitor falls over and knocks Chad's Ibanez over on the concrete.
Oh no!
Like face first, separated the from the fretboard.
Oh no!
And yeah, that's another one then.
How long did it take him to forgive him?
I don't think he has. That was one of Chad's favorite guitars. Remember the black Ibanez?
Yeah, that was a good one.
They had the white pick guard on
Yep.
it? Yeah, that was that one. You notice he don't play it. He's actually going to fix that guitar. What he said he was going to do to it is take it and paint it like... have you ever watched the Counting Cars?
No.
The show Counting Cars?
I don't, believe it or not, I do not watch TV.
Well, anyways, there's a guy on there called Horny Mike. He's an airbrush guy. Well, his bus is a certain color green. I'm not really sure what color green it is. But Chad's going to paint his Ibanez that color and refinish it.
Can we call him Horny Chad after that?
Yes.
Well, Horny Chad.
Horny Chad.
Chad's a good dude, man. I really can't
Like
say
I
enough
said.
good things about you guys and your
86,
band. And, yeah, that's crazy.
But
That's
you got to realize something too,
dude. I was 11 in '86.
Cinderblock has been together probably longer than very many bands around here have been.
Yeah, 2002.
2001, 2002, right?
Yeah, that's the God, 14 years.
Yep. And you know what makes
insane.
it? You know what makes it?
It's fun.
Well, you know what else makes it? Not one of us run things. We all, if we're going to do something, I'll call Chad and say, hey, do you want to do this? And he'll say, okay, well, let's run it by the other guys. So I'll call Corey and say, hey, Chad said it's okay if you want to do this. He said, okay, that's fine. Let's run it by Chris. Okay, Chris, Chad and Corey said it's okay if we do this. And Chris will be like, okay, that's fine. So that's how we do things.
That's really cool.
One guy don't say, okay, well, this is what's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Because then
do you think some bands need that, though, some structure?
You mean as far as having one person run the band? I don't like that myself.
Yeah.
I think a band, when it becomes work for me, man, I'm probably going to just quit. When it's a job, I'm going to quit. Yeah. Because I do it for the fun. I like the extra money that I make.
Yeah.
And I like performing. That is one thing I like to do is, my mom could tell you from the day I was in third grade, I like to show off in front of people.
Sure.
I mean, I was the class clown in school. And that makes me the performer. That if nobody that's on here that's ever seen us perform, they should come out and see us.
Well, I was going to ask you this earlier, like before I started this podcast. And I'm like, what are all these questions I can ask Chad? Not a fucking one of them have I asked. But I was going to ask this one, man. Did I call you Chad?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Roger.
No, it's all right.
Just you're both so handsome, hard to separate you. No, they got the guns, man. No, I was thinking like of all these questions I could ask Roger, and then now I'm just like, fuck it, we're bullshitting, we're having fun.
Well, we don't want
but like
be too much like a
No, I don't want it to be that formal.
Yeah.
No, but like. Give an idea. Like again, I really want a non-performer to sort of understand what it's like to be on stage. Like, give an idea. Like, if you could put somebody into your brain while you're on stage, what would you say to convey what it's like to be on stage? I mean, I know what it's like, and
most musicians.
And it might even be different for me than it is for you.
I'm sure it is because you have to concentrate on two things. Singing and playing guitar. Yeah. I just have to concentrate on if somebody's wanting to be in my head, wanting to know what it's like, the first thing you want to do is you want to make your crowd happy. You want to keep them coming back.
And how do you do that?
PR is a big thing. PR. When I come down off of breaks, I go sit down with people. People I don't even know. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Glad you guys come out. First time you've ever seen us, I'm PRing the whole time. I'm PRing up on stage. I'm smiling at people, flirting with the girls. I'm married, been married for 17 years. You got to keep them coming back, man.
Yeah. And I think that's something that, like say a young girl that's listening, maybe her boyfriend is in his first band. You got to understand, you do have to mingle with both genders.
Yeah.
You can't.
My wife, at first, she was all jealous and.
Sure.
But she knows it, she knows who I come home to. So
yeah. And
she don't even go watch me play anymore.
That's why I stay single.
I thought it was just because you was just a handsome man,
Shit.
Just like to mess around, buddy.
No.
No, I understand. I mean, being in my shoes, man, up on stage with Cinderblock, the guys are great. They're all great guys. We cut up on stage together. We have fun on stage together. We don't fight, argue about stuff. And when I'm performing, like I said earlier, whether I've got 5 people or 5,000 people, you're going to get my 110%. Because that's just the way I am. Like I said, from the time I was old enough, I was the class clown. I wanted to be noticed. I wanted I want people to know me, And that's why I guess we have such... the reputation that we have, for around this area.
Yeah, you guys are a draw for sure.
We put on a show. I mean, that's
definitely. Would you say it's important to be friends with your bandmates? How important is that? Because you guys seem pretty tight.
Yeah, we're brothers. I mean, that's you have to be. You can't have any conflict in your band at all, man. If you have any issues, you need to get them out before you go on stage. That's another thing you could tell these new band, people that are trying to start. if you got issues with somebody in your band, don't do it on stage. Don't do it in the bar where you're playing at. Finish your gig, get your money, get outside the building, and then say, hey, man, I don't think you should have done that, or you know what I mean? You don't. Professionalism is the best thing I can tell anybody.
Yep.
Professionalism, and that's why we've.
I can say I've broken every one of those rules.
That's the best thing I can say. The reason we've been together for 14 years.
Yeah.
We don't have any conflict, man. We like each other.
That's amazing. Yeah, you enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
You're not just bandmates. You are friends outside of
friends,
your band.
yes.
And I honestly can say the same thing about Ken and Jamie.
Yeah.
You know, the EOB thing, while it's, we've quit doing the cover band thing. Well, yeah, we'll do the, benefits. We love doing the benefits. Wapstock being my favorite gig of the year.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to do it last year because we
had a gig.
We had a gig that night, but actually, I think Cinderblock's running sound for it this coming up time. They'll be using
awesome.
RPA.
I can't wait to play it again
Yeah.
if we're asked.
Oh, I'm sure you will be.
We do seem to be a staple. But what I'm getting at is, man, those guys are like my brothers as well. Like, I totally get it. I can't imagine being in a band with people I don't like.
Right.
I've been in a situation where I've had to play music with people I just didn't respect or care for or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not fun.
No.
It's not fun. When
No.
a band is definitely
No, I
like a
got
marriage.
You, man. I feel you.
Yeah.
Me too.
So at this point in the game, you've made no bones about it. You're in your late 40s. You turned 49 this year. I turned 41. We're not the new kids.
Yeah, but you got more gray than I do.
I know.
Look at this. But anyways,
what do you want to do with music at this point? Because I would imagine at this point in the game, you've accomplished. Okay, nobody gets into music saying, "Oh, I just want to be a small time. I don't give a shit who you are." You don't want to play to just 5 people. But it changes as you get older.
Yeah, as I was younger, it really didn't even. I was just playing in bars, in local bars, and I never really even tried to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Putting out a couple of CDs is, that's good enough for me. If I do another couple of CDs before I decide to retire, that's.
You're not going to retire.
Yeah.
No, you're not. No, you won't. You'll be 91 like your dad and still doing something.
But not on stage.
You may not be on
I won't
stage.
be up there going,
But you're
stuff,
gonna know. But you're gonna call your buddies over, and I'll be like, "Yeah, Roger, let me come over. Yeah. Let me see if I can get Jessica to wheel me over to your house." We're not going to quit making music.
No, and that's my dad. It's in our blood. It's in my blood.
It's in the DNA. Yeah, same here. Same here. So what? Okay, you said you're 49.
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish with music at 49? At this point?
That's a good question, man.
Do you even think about that, or are you just like,
having fun?
Fuck it, man. I want to have fun.
Just having
fun. I want
fun.
to have an awesome gig. I don't care about what I'm trying to accomplish.
Because we're not playing any bars that we're going to get hurt anyways.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So now, like I told you, if it becomes work for me, I'm done. Right now, it's fun. I'm having a blast doing it because I like the guys that I play music with.
Uh-huh.
We're all good friends outside the band. We all, we'll get together and hang out and talk. Corey will call me every once in a while, and we'll just sit and bullshit.
Yeah.
But as far as at 49 right now, I'm just playing the game, man.
Just having fun.
Just having fun.
Having a good time.
I have to.
Probably less stressful than ever, huh?
Oh yeah. And like somebody was telling me the other night, they was like, we got done off a set and we went and sat down. I sat down with these people. I had never met them, I just sat down and kind of bullshitting with them.
Yeah.
And this guy looked at me. He said, "Man," he said, I never heard anybody sing the stuff you do." He said, "Sometimes you even do it better than the artists do it."
Yeah.
And can Sebastian Bach sing his stuff now at his age? No, he can't.
Right. Yeah.
And he couldn't even really do it back then either.
Yeah.
That was all studio, man. If you listen to his live stuff, back he still wasn't. I mean, he had the real pretty stuff, but he couldn't do the, and that's what makes me want to do even more is because I want people to say, "Man, you're good. You guys are awesome.
Any artist that says they don't care about compliments, I'm going to tell the listener right now that's bullshit.
Oh, we love compliments.
That's bullshit.
But you don't want to sit there and say, "I know."
Yeah, and you don't let it get to your head to the point you're like, oh, I'm the greatest thing that ever happened to.
And I've never said, have I ever acted like that? Never.
Always.
In my life. Yeah.
Always.
I'm the best.
Always.
Hey, don't let him lie. I'm the best.
Yeah.
Anybody he broadcasts on here can't sing half what I can sing.
There you go. There you go. I am the best Jerry Foster that I know.
You're right. You are. I wouldn't have you any other way.
I appreciate that. Well, man, is there anything before we wrap this up? We are at the hour mark. That's awesome.
It's awesome.
Is there anything you wanna say to anybody? Any shout outs? Any plugs for next gig?
We're playing next weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Friday night at LA's in Paragould and Big Papa Drinks, Kennett, Missouri.
Awesome.
If you get a chance, you should come out to one of those gigs. Jump in a truck with us and ride down.
When is the next all ages kind of thing you might be doing? I'm no telling. Yeah.
But shout outs, Randy Bailey, Chris Berger, Z95 The Bone. Appreciate them all for plugging our music, playing our music, supporting the local music. That's amazing, and I appreciate you having me on your podcast tonight, man.
All right,
had a lot of fun.
I am so glad you did it. I mean it, and I've said it a million times. I'll say it a million more times. Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
All right, that's it. That is the end. I'd like to thank our sponsors. Me.
I'll sponsor you.
I'd like to thank my sponsors. Me.
You want me to sponsor you?
So yeah, that's going to wrap it up. I've never done a podcast before. This is it. This is our trial run. Had a lot of fun. And again, man, thank you so much.
You bet, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
All
for having
right.
me.